The academic year comes to a close. Thousands of students across the country are gearing up for graduation. But at the University of Southern California's commencement ceremony, one key event will be missing. On Monday, the university announced it had canceled plans for a graduation speech by this year's valedictorian, Asna Tabassum, citing safety concerns. Now, Tabassum's selection immediately sparked controversy on campus, with several pro-Israel groups demanding the university reconsider its decision, citing pro-Palestinian social media posts from Tabassum, who is Muslim, which they say were anti-Semitic. Now, we should note, Tabassum has said that she had not yet planned the substance of her remarks when USC pulled the plug. She, along with other critics of the decision, say they believe the school canceled the speech because of her public support for Palestinians. In a statement, university officials said the decision had nothing to do with freedom of speech, saying in part, quote, "There is no free speech entitlement to speak at a commencement. The issue here is how best to maintain campus security and safety." Period. However, the university has not elaborated on exactly what safety concerns motivated their decision. For years, free speech on college campuses has been a favorite topic among conservatives who accuse the higher education system of silencing anyone who doesn't agree with them. So surely those very same critics, you would think, who decry so-called cancel culture, would now be outraged over Tabassum's apparent cancellation, right? Wrong. So far, there's been nothing but crickets from the cancel culture crowd. But this isn't the first time pro-Palestinian speech has been censored in recent months. Both Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis have cracked down on pro-Palestinian student groups, urging public universities in their states to revise free speech policies to specifically target these groups. And this policing of language when it comes to Israel's conduct in its war in Gaza extends far beyond our universities. According to a new report released by The Intercept, the New York Times instructed its journalists to avoid certain words when covering the war. While that guidance includes restricting the use of terms like genocide and ethnic cleansing, which do have specific legal meaning, the leaked memo also directs journalists not to use the phrase refugee camps to describe certain settlements inside of Gaza. Now, despite the fact these areas are recognized by the United Nations as such, as refugee camps, and house thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of registered refugees. The Times also cautions its staff from using words like slaughter and massacre, which they say, quote, convey more emotion than information. But as The Intercept notes, in Times' own reporting on the Gaza war, such language has been used repeatedly to describe attacks against Israelis by Palestinians, and almost never in the case of large-scale killing of Palestinians at the hands of the Israeli military. These examples are part of a much larger pattern that has come into focus over the last few months. The weaponization of language, especially when it comes to language against the state of Israel or in support of the Palestinian people. Let's consider a phrase I'm sure you have heard a lot about by now. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. It's a phrase that Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, the only Palestinian-American member of Congress, has described as a, quote, aspirational call for freedom, human rights, and peaceful coexistence. However, it appears Representative Tlaib's own colleagues don't agree. On Tuesday, the House passed a resolution condemning the phrase as anti-Semitic, arguing that it calls for the destruction of the state of Israel. Now, there's no denying America has an ugly history of anti-Semitism, a past that continues well into our present. According to the Anti-Defamation League, in 2023, anti-Semitic incidents jumped 140% compared to the previous year. In fact, the ADL tracked more incidents in 2023 than in any of the previous 3 years combined. But upon closer inspection, that data raises some serious questions, because in 2023, the ADL marked any rally or demonstration where protesters uttered the phrase "from the river to the sea" as an anti-Semitic incident, a drastic change in its own criteria of years past. Over the last few months, we have seen words or phrases that were not previously defined as anti-Semitic being recontextualized and, in some cases, redefined in front of our very own eyes. That's the cultural moment that we find ourselves in, one where a star student's chance to speak in front of her peers has been ripped away as quickly as it was given to her. So what message do we want to send to her? That in order to succeed, you must stay silent about your beliefs. because the systemic silencing of one side of a debate is not a hallmark of a healthy or vibrant democracy. Because in order to have a debate, have the free exchange of ideas, we can't keep moving the goalposts, deciding who can speak and who can't speak, what causes do deserve a platform and which ones should be deplatformed, or even what words we're allowed to use and which ones are off limits. In order for speech to be truly free, it must apply to everyone, regardless of whether or not you may agree with it.
Hey everyone, MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.